What's going on, Reverend Tremors and everybody else listening on the broadcast? No, another tape delay, not other things. And yes, I still got to get those processed as soon as I get them loaded up in Flash and gone. 12:38 p.m. West Coast time, the Sunday the 15th in 2024. And yes, I avoided all the other political claptrap coming from corporate and independent medias and just had a check just a short time ago of what they were saying about. And J.D. Vance is still on his tirade again. Still on his tirade. I swear this guy has no new material. Well, one thing, he's not a stand-up comedian. He's just a stand-up bore. That's what he is. I can't substantiate. Sorry. I'm eating my own whiskers. Gross. But so is gross talking about an immigration community being illegal when they weren't. And, oh, a second. Apologies. So, from one American Nazi Party visit to a city council meeting, exploded into this stupidity that people keep repeating, that they cannot back up because of someone's mouth. And he doesn't have proof. He just says things, and he got tossed down on his bum. But the damage was still done. It was still public out there. So now, Springfield, Ohio is going to have its hands full for God knows how many decades or years of damage control they're going to have to work on. And yes, it's out there still. I'm more worried about, if people have been watching the videos that I've been putting out there, what kind of insanity we're dealing with here. Science, geology, that kind of thing. See, Trump can say all the crap he wanted when he was in California. He's at his golf course. He can say that kind of stuff because this is his area, his territory, even though it's public territory. It's not his private domain, even though his own company bought the damn property a long time ago, about 20 years ago. About, well, a little over 20 years ago, and had it developed and opened in 2006, but it was still open to the public. He's more worried about losing that damn place than anything else, but he still wanted to make his political word salad. Meanwhile, everybody else is still trying to do their own damn word salad, trying to figure things out and saying, "See what he said here? See what they said there? He he he." I came up with words and I came up with attitudes, sound effects that may be insulting to a lot of them, and I'm not quite sure if I'm ready to deal with that in public. Because how am I supposed to deal with this? How am I supposed to deal with this? Don't you understand? We're talking about the Donald Trump. We must worship the Donald Trump. You cannot say a bad word about this man. No! You cannot say this word. You cannot say anything about him. He is divine. He is sweet. He is everything. You foolish mortals, don't you understand? This is the Trump. He is God imaged here on earth. Don't you understand? We must worship the Donald Trump. We must do this. How dare you say something is let's back up on the damn characterizations at this point over here, because sometimes that even stresses me out when I start doing this kind of crap in the first place. I mean, I do this thing as a practice run or just as a joke on my recordings left and right. I don't bring it out into the public saying I have to do this because I'm driven or I'm told to do so. No, it's called ridicule, basically. Character assassination. No, I always say that you have to have character in order to be assassinated. If you haven't got assassinated by verbiage, then you haven't got any character. But if you're getting assassinated, well, then maybe you do have character to be assassinated. That's the kind of logic I keep following these days concerning about being a maggot. I don't call them maggots. I call them maggots because put a T in it. Put an extra G in a T in it. But that's the kind of insult I have. And yeah, they'll probably put me on public record and then public execution, maybe. Maybe put me in public trial over this one. He's a maggot destroyer. How dare he? Don't you understand you are destroying the very foundation of what we're trying to make America great? Don't you understand? You will conform. You will comply. You will. Because we say so. I'm wondering if these guys have any heart conditions or any kind of mental defects happening in the brains. I mean, they can't even afford any CAT scans or MRIs or any medical insurance, but they want to convince you otherwise that they know better, right? Of course, I hadn't seen a doctor in a hell of a long while. I only see a therapist, and that took me a long time to see a therapist. I still don't trust the medical establishment because I'm always afraid they're going to find something new or tell me that I'm totally normal and I'm totally human and I'm totally healthy. I'll probably look at them saying, Doc, you got to be kidding me. Of course, we should be celebrating health. We should be celebrating healthy in state of mind and in physicality. Problem is, I'm neither. I know it a long time ago. I wasn't born healthy, damn it. I was born a screwed up human being. I'll die a screwed up human being. They can't give me pills, ills, chills, and wills for it. No lotions, potions, or notions for the damn thing. I am what I am. I had heart surgery that made me say "alite," scared the shit out of me. And then having these kind of a couple of times in my lifetime where I needed something to help me out regarding a death in the family or a spiritual awakening. And even after that, I felt the positivity and the energy level. Then I became depressed, angry, and scared as hell, and still not quite sure if I can still try to recapture the feelings, but the memories I still have. Do I deny that there is a power greater than myself, beyond myself? I don't deny it. I do not deny it. I don't have physical evidence in this universe to prove otherwise. And that's what some of the skeptics and agnostics want, is proof. They want something in this physical world here. We have our teachings. We have our artifacts. We have things we created to show us that maybe there is something out there beyond us. But the problem is, can we actually understand it with it, deal with it? I mean, if we actually had something from beyond happening in our laps, I kept going back to an astronomer, a past beyond the veil, Carl Sagan. I admired this guy's intellect, brilliance, and his and his knowledge base of astronomy and how to communicate it and how to communicate science to people. I grew up under the Cosmos era actually, not the error, but era. And I read his books. I found them fascinating. I was enthralled with the guy, but I wish I had met him, but I never had a chance to meet him. But because of those science lessons he was teaching us, it may be a bit more skeptical and may be questioning more about how the universes and dimensions are viewable. We are only subject and limited to our squishy brains' electrical impulses to our mortal shell to figure out the universe. And then we have a mini computer, theoretically, in our skulls to analyze and figure things out. Only if there's data and there's logic added to the programming can we figure the damn things out. Basically, we're a biological zeros and ones. But we're supposed to have soul, so that's supposed to be added to it. But the brain cannot figure it out because it cannot sense the damn thing. It cannot see it, or feel it, touch it, taste it, or hear it. It doesn't exist. So we're only as squishy brains, because the brain is squishable, that we can only figure things out in front of us. We made this world our own because our own senses have created our own environment. We can sense the environment. We can use our senses to detect anything and everything, including generating videos like this. We can program the zeros and ones for this thing. We are omnipotent in that particular area. We think we're gods. We're not. Because there always had to be some kind of forces that created the nature around us. Other than that, if we actually denied everything in our squishy brains, the brain would just be it. No sensory input. Nothing. So it would not be able to detect anything outside the shell because if I shut down everything in the shell and just exist as is, well, that's a problem right there because we need life support for the brain, don't we? Yeah, we need oxygen going in, which means there's got to be something of an outside force to put molecules that our body needs to process stuff. We need food, we need air, we need liquid, water, basically. And we need this stuff. We cannot get it without the senses. Without the senses, we're dead. We're basically lifeless. The brain can try shooting electrical impulses. If the limbs won't work, it's just basically there. But it still needs resources to continue to thrive. So how do we detect the unknown? Well, I think some people have tried to put themselves in sensory deprivation chambers or in a mode to try to deprive everything except for the forces that we've detected, like gravity. But if we didn't, if we were actually able to negate it and just negate everything else and just deal with what the brain kind of senses. But the brain can't sense without the physicality. That's what we're born with, so that's an issue. And I'm going to be hearing political crap coming from people left and right because they're going to be asking me questions. How dare you say this and how dare you say that? What the hell are you trying to talk about? What I'm trying to talk about is what I see and what I exist and what I feel and what's going on around me. That being said, do I know that if certain groups of people have actually eaten animals? Only from the stories that I hear and process in my head. And if I can't verify the damn crap, I think it's bull. I think it's malarkey. If they're saying about climate change, then if I happen to notate it through past experiences and through past records that we keep track in our mortal capacity, then maybe I can try following along what they're talking about, okay? I'll deal with that aspect. If it gets too damn hot, I know our temperature in our bodies are reacting to it, and which will be affecting everything in our organs, including the brain, including logic centers, being fried out, melted. It's supposed to be a little bit cooler, a few degrees cooler today. Well, according to what National Weather Service for Hanford said in California, we have 81 degrees. It feels like 81 degrees in here. Speaking of which, there goes the air conditioning. Change the air conditioning in this place. I was making fun using vocalizations in my throat and operating and maneuvering the chamber of my mouth to make these kind of sounds. Now, for the personality that goes with it, it just seemed like people are following this kind of level of manipulation. To think and follow this way because the other party wants that much notoriety, that much attention. It cannot live and thrive without attention. It must have it. It must have your obedience. It must have your attention. It must have you. Despite what our senses will tell us, despite our good senses if we actually have any, despite what the theories and philosophies we were growing up with, despite that training, we are forced to think and feel along this particular way because we are told to. Getting onto the political realm here, and we're going to be talking about, shall we talk about Christian nationalists? And they say that Christians are fun and natural, and we enjoy the Lord like crazy, but the problem is, you don't follow the Lord, you're not going to follow our type of God, well, then we're going to do something nastily and dastardly at you. How about that? Or to you. We'll make vocalizations out of that one. See here, you city boy. You will follow us because we say so. You will be converted. You will ignore everything else around you. but you will follow us. Because we say so. History is replete. History is repetitive, and we keep failing it. There are certain events that we keep doing to ourselves that, quite honestly, I don't know what the hell we're doing anymore. Let's make up something here. Well, I know it's been irritating. Sound effects like that, and then trying to find a basis for it. And then when I hear about Christian nationalism, I kept thinking and hearkened to the days of the Crusades that we've actually had throughout human history, where we used religion as a battering ram to get land, to build up ego, to build up street creds. Theoretically, it was supposed to prove that Christ was it. Problem is, we used him as a battering ram. We used him as a fall guy. We used him as an excuse for our own damn egos. But do you think people would remember and learn about this crap? You think that we go out to libraries and say, oh my God, it's wokeism, it's liberalism, it's full of lies. That's basically what they're doing. I mean, that's basically how they're doing it. They think it's lies. It's reality and truth and history. They don't believe it. They want to believe someone else's fantasy. They want to believe someone else's Disneyland crap going on through their head. They'll believe it's a small world after all. No, we're living on one damn marble. And we've already screwed this damn marble up. You go on a Disneyland ride, and you're going on it's a small world ride. It's a big magic castle with lots of animated figures, and they're smiling like crazy. And I'm thinking to myself, what a bunch of hog shit. We want it to be like that. We hoped and prayed it would be like that. We end up saying, nope. We ended up landing people. We ended up going out to different countries, different places, and murdering because that's what we are. We're conquering creatures. We use philosophies. We use excuses to do our dastardies. All in the name of control, all in the name of ego, all in the name of power, all in the name of me. Yeah, I mean, I'll keep talking about the shit. What I keep observing. Once in a great while, throw it out live feed. I'm not like everybody else. I'm not getting monetized for the damn thing. But I always have to watch out what the hell I'm saying because I'll piss people off left and right. How dare you say that? That's character assassination. I'm sorry, do you actually have any character? You insinuated and insulted. I can't insult something doesn't have anything else to insult with. I mean, clearly you're not a character and you're not there, so what's going on? But I am here. You just insulted me. I cannot insult something that I don't recognize. So goodbye. Ah! It's your stress. It's your heart attack. It's your stroke. Not to say that I am responsible, accountable, transparent. Oh, no, no. I'll just do a hit and tack on a thing and just walk away. And if I was along that kind of lines. But then again, because of the philosophies, I still have to keep relearning all the time. I have to go back and say, I'm sorry. I apologize for assassinating you. I apologize for tearing apart any kind of character or verbiage that you actually have, or whatever kind of ideology that you have in your mortal corpse of a brain in there, of a squishy organ. So yes, I'm apologizing. Using another character accession over here to honestly mean what kind of a disreputable, decrepit life form you are. Gee, I just crossed into their realm, didn't I? Expecting the laugh or you're expecting the smile at this point. when following certain um, philosophies out there. It's definitely not permitted because there was a section in there where Jesus was going to be betrayed by one of his own, and he's kissed and recognized as the master. One of the followers of Jesus, Peter, if I'm not mistaken, had a sword with him. He saw the Roman swords and he was going to fight for him. He was going to fight for his master. And Jesus is telling him, put away the sword. Those who live by it die by it. In one aspect, you'd be looking at the physical item. But in our time, we're looking at metaphysics. We're looking at lessons at this point. We're looking at an item just not a physical, but of the weapon we use, including the video I'm doing here. I've already sent enough slings and arrows, and I've already sent enough flying rocks through my catapult at your castle, built of your own ego, and tearing it down to let you know what kind of a weak mortal you are because I have got the weaponry. And now, do I have the troops behind me to back it up? No, it's just little old me. See, I had to build a catapult, stick by stick, getting ropes for it, making sure I had the whole mechanism working. Kind of hard for a person to do that. And then find the right rocks that I can actually lift, or barely lift, to put into the catapult mechanism. And then I have to aim it right with all my strength and sinew on it. Looking at your wall, calculating the distance, what do I need to hit in order for the rock to do its major damage, and then throw my sling at you. Of course, if I was actually able to pick up a bow and arrow, looking at the archers on your walkways there, and they got about maybe 10 to 1500 to 1. What happens if it's just 1-on-1? Well, then I gotta make sure that the catapult is aiming right. I'm gonna be aiming right at close to you so we can do maximum damage by busting down your walls or busting down anything else to make crumble on you. Getting medieval here. And then, if I actually made and fixed a crossbow, I'll be storming your castle. No problem. Damn, drawbridge. Okay, so let's see what he's got in the moat. He's got his defenders. No, he doesn't. It's the stagnant water. Okay, so now I gotta figure out a way how to get over to your castle there. Or maybe you don't have a moat at all. Good. I get to the drawbridge. Or to the gate. Pound at the gate. Open up in the name of me! I got a crossbow ready with your name on it. Come on, I haven't got all day. Of course, you might be lying in an archway there, just a bit injured, crushed. And I'm like, oh great, now I gotta do this the hard way. So I gotta find something to open up the damn gate. Walk right through. And see what kind of damage I made in your enclave there. Of course, you probably built your own castle brick by brick with your own damn ego and everything else going on in your head. And you're looking at me saying, how dare you? You injured me in my castle. I'm like, good. Prepare to get insulted again. Choose your weapon well. I'm crushed by your insults. I don't care. I'm still going to crush you anyway because I say so. We can play all these damn head games left and right. We can play all these things going on in our head. But when it comes down for the real world that we exist in, we have rules, regulations, we have laws and ordinances not to do this kind of crap. We have philosophies teaching us, don't do this. You're supposed to help the next guy. Well, we're looking at the next guy bleeding to death over here, either by physicality or by mentally. We've already done our damage. So what do? Help him out? I'm me and you're you. Deal with it. Ugh. But if we were raised in a philosophy of helping the other person, we wouldn't be putting him in the crossbows. Thus, we would have to make amends for our own damages that we've already inflicted upon. And we really would have to make amends, even by, if it has to follow the laws that we've already established, that we've probably already broken by doing this, even by example. See, we are our morals that we're taught of doing the right and wrong thing. But we haven't exactly quite taught our youth about this one. And our grandparents and our parents are already passing away. Their legacy is stuck with us. So now we still have to carry the ball on this one. But the problem is, if we keep repeating the same mistakes they've made, history is repeating itself in elements. Either we recognize it or we don't recognize it, but it is repeating itself in a cycle. Much like science and the nature of everything is repeating itself in a cycle. We're talking about the circle of life, right? That's a cycle. We're talking about atmospheric conditions. We got about cycles of air masses bringing in a moisture here, or arid regions, or heat, or something over here. We have a planet constantly in a turmoil, both on the surface and on the side. They're going through cycles. The sun is going through its own cycle of energy, whether or not we're going to have sunspot activity or not. We have the orbits. Those are cycles. Everything's in a cycle, except for the garbage mashers out there in the universe, which are called black holes. Anything falls in those damn things, they're gone. Of course, they could be going around in a cycle, slow spin cycle until into the bent horizon it goes, and then the birds. I'm not talking about creatures. I'm talking about the singing group. The song Turn, Turn, Turn talks about cycles, talks about seasons. We make songs like this to remind us of what we're doing, how we're accomplishing things, how we're dealing with it, what stupidity we've already done to ourselves and others. Everything's got a season. But the problem is, we keep repeating the cycle. When are we ever going to learn? We've got folk singers out there back in the 60s and 70s, basically during that time, teaching us about this stuff. Did we ever listen and learn about it? Only our older generations learned the hard way before they passed away, and then kept hoping we'd listen to their songs. No, we haven't learned. We haven't learned. We're still not there yet. So that being said, I'm waiting for the spears. I'm waiting for the arrows to sling over here. I'm waiting for the damn boomerangs. I'm waiting for karma. I'm waiting. Because I know cycles repeat.